Hello, everybody. Welcome to session 5 of Unit 7, Module 2, Division Story Problems. That's one word that I think many of my kids dislike is that word story problems. They get a little stressed out when they know that they have to actually read a story, figure out what to do. But today it's pretty easy, right? I'm sure you all do well. What we want to do is just figure out what are we going to do with those remainders. Do we have to use them in our answer? Should we include them in our answer, or do we just disregard them? So you'll do a little bit of work doing division problems. Yes, they are story problems, but that's a little bit easier for you to understand what to do with the remainders once they're in a story problem. Because if it's not associated with a story problem, we just have to have remainders. There's no if, ands, or buts about it. You just got to do it. But um, if it's in a story problem, we can choose to either use the remainder and add more, or just forget the remainder and just deal with what we have. So we'll get to that soon. All right. Yes, you saw it. We are going to be doing another problem string, over and unders with division. Same thing we did yesterday. We're going to look for some base 10 multiplication problems and then subtract a little bit and figure out some answers from there. When we're all done, you can feel free to do any of the workplace games that we've learned, but you also need to make sure you finish page 277 in your student book. But before we get started, let's make sure that we check over our homework from yesterday. Pause the video at any point so that you can check over your answers, make the necessary changes that need to be made, and or reach out to your teachers so that you can discuss with them what you've done. So here we go. There we go. This is, I believe, page 273. I'm sorry, it usually has the page number down here for me. Page 273 in your student book. Pause the video and check over your answers. Remember, work will vary however you chose. You are supposed to show your work. So however you chose to do it, you're right, as long as you came up with the answers written here. All right, when you're ready to come back to the video, press play. Here's 141 and 142 in your in your home connections book. Again, work will vary, but make sure that you have all the right answers down there. And if you have any questions, please, again, reach out to your teachers. Pause the video, make your corrections, and then start the video when you're all ready. All right, here we go. Problem strings. Get out your notebooks. We're going to nail this because we are coming to the end of Unit 7. Actually, we're only halfway done with the Unit 7, but we are coming to the end. Eventually, the Bridges program will be over and there won't be any more problem strings, so just hang in there with me. All right, so for our first problem, we're going to divide 78 by... or 78 into 780, or divide 780 by 78. And we know that when we do that, we get 10 as our answer, right? Because 78 times 10 equals 780. So we're going to use that information to help us with the lower problems in our problem string. So we're going to move on to the next one. What is 858 divided by 78? Well, I just can't look at that and figure out, I know that answer. But what I can do is I can subtract 858 from, or 780 from 858, and that's going to give me an answer. What do you suppose that answer is going to be? Right, 78. And I know 78 is 1, right? And I have to look, is that more than my 780 or less than my 780? Because that will determine what I add that 1 to. Am I going to add or subtract the 1? Well, that's what I'm going to do with my 1. So I see that 858 is more, so I'm going to add. Okay, so what is 10 plus 1? That gives me 11. Good. All right, now the next one, 702 divided by 78. Well, again, in my head, I can't do that problem, but I know that 780 divided by 78 is 10. So I can take that 780 and then subtract 702 from it. What do you suppose that answer is? Right, it is. It's 78 again. And is this number, my divisor, um, is that less than my dividend divisor? You know what? This is one of those things that Mr. Keller just went a little too far out on his vocabulary for now. At oh, look at that, it's 8:51. We're just gonna go with it. Is this number less than or greater than 780? It's less than, so we have to subtract 178. So now all we have to do is figure what's 10 minus 1. My answer is 9. 8. So now that I know this answer, how can I figure out what 7,020 divided by 78 is? Well, let's take a look at the above problem. I know that 702 times 10, and that times is this, times 10 equals 7020. So that would make sense if I used my answer up here and I multiplied that number by 10, and I would get 90. See that? Pretty easy. But what about 6,942? Well, I'm not so sure. I don't know that answer. Can't figure it out. But I know what 7,020 divided by 78 is, right? That's 90. So why don't I take that 7,020 and I subtract 6,942? What is that answer? Did you guys get it? 78. And knowing that it is less than, I'm going to subtract 1 from my above total. And I'm going to get not plus 89. 89 for the answer. Is that what you got? All right. Same thing now. 234 divided by 78. This is going to be a little bit more tricky. So we may have to do a little problem string just so that I can figure that out. Why don't you do a little problem string with 234 divided by 78? Okay, we know that 1 will equal 78. We know 2 will equal, what did you put down for that one? Well, 78 plus 78, 156. And then I know that 3, all I am going to have to do is add 1 and 2 together. And that gives me 234. Awesome. So 3 is my answer, which I'm going to use for the rest of my problems, right? So then what's 2,340 divided by 78? Do you notice anything similar between these two problems? Yes, it's the 2, 3, and 4. And all they've done is added a 0. If I add a 0, that means I'm multiplying my answer by 10. So what is 3 times 10? 30. Good work. All right, so then what is 2,496 divided by 78? Well, I don't know, but I know that 2,340 is 30, divided by 78 is 30. So I am going to have to subtract 2,000. I'm going to have to take 2,496 and subtract 2,340. I'm going to give you some time to answer that question. Start the video when you are ready. Did you come up with an answer? Right? I got 156. It's a good thing I did my little ratio table up here because look at 2/78 is 156. So I got to subtract. Oh no, do I subtract or add? I almost made a mistake here. I'm going from 2,340 to 2,496. That means I'm adding 2. So I got to go 30 plus 2, and that's going to equal 32. 32 is my answer. And how do I figure out what 7,020 is? That means that I'm going to have to use the information from the other page, right? So I take 7,020 divided by 70. Oh, wait a minute. We already did that one. Oh, that's nice. That works out well. We already did that one. Done. No worries. So how are we going to figure out this last problem? 8,099 divided by 91. Whew. So I know that 91 times 10 is 910. So I'm going to have to go 91 times 100, and that gives me 9,100. And if I do my best to subtract 8,099 from that total, what do I get? Go ahead and use your brains or calculators if you got one to figure out that answer. What did you get? I got 1,001. Now, I know also that, so that equals 100, right? But I also know that 91 times 10 is, what did you get? 910. So what is 9,100? No. Yep. Minus 910. What does that equal? 8,190. So then I need to, I got to go one more. 91 times 1 equals 90. Ooh, I forgot my equal side. Equals 91. So there you have it. 91. So if I can take the 9,100 and I subtract 910 and I subtract 91, I get 8,099. So what does that mean? See, this is where we have to keep track of a little bit, right? Because I have, what did I use to make the 9,100? Right? I did 100. And then I subtract 10. And then I subtract 1. And it equals, right, 89. Good work. Did you come up with that? That one's a little difficult, but definitely doable. Good work. All right. So take a look at pages 274 to 276. These are the questions. These are questions that are very similar to what you had on your pre-test, which asks you to do some division and then write an equation for that answer. So please remember all of the steps, okay? So read the problem, solve the problem and show your work, write an equation that represents the problem and the answer. So if this is 12 divided by 4 and you're doing your work for 12 divided by 4, you write your equation 12 divided by 4 equals 3. And then if there's any remainder, what should you do with it? Should you add more to the total, like here, cookies and students, or should you throw the extra cookies away? I don't know. You got to make that decision because fairly, you have to do it fairly. I don't know. You figure it out yourselves. But you have 6 problems. One's a challenge, but please attempt to do that. We will go over all of these answers in our next lesson. Okay, nice job today. You came to the end. We are now ready to do some online resources. If you have extra time or you want some extra stuff to do, go back and do some workplaces, that quotient race to 100 and roll 5. But for sure, for next lesson, make sure you have student book page 277 completed. All right. If you have any problems or if you are having any questions, please reach out to your teachers. They will get in contact with you as quickly as possible. If you don't have any questions, great job today. We're finishing those problem strings up like rock stars, and we are going to keep moving through this like the champs we are. If you have any other questions, contact your teachers, reach out, do what you need to do. If you don't, congratulations. Have a great day. Enjoy math.